So this is a discussion that we plan to have about the organisation of Euxton Villa. Due to the circumstances, we have to conduct the discussion over Skype. So I'm here with the head coach at Euxton Villa. You just want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Rendon Pillay, and I'm coach at Euxton Villa, and I run foundation age group. So I've had a group of players for the past 3 years, and they're currently playing at under 9 level. So I've had them since the age of 5 years old.
Okay, so thanks for that, Rendon. Throughout this discussion, we're going to be discussing 3 factors within the organisation. We're going to be discussing the psychological factors that the coaches offer and that the organisation helps to promote, the social and sociological factors between the coaches, members of the club and the parents, and the models of talent development that the club has in place. So if you have any questions, just ask throughout. We're going to first discuss the psychological factors of talent development that the club itself offers and you as a coach also offer. So it's my understanding that you help to improve the confidence and also the confidence of the participants through positive reinforcement, and you always strive to make sure the participants are having fun throughout the session, so they're engaging. So for the club engagement levels, I've seen throughout the session are very important, because I've seen that if they're not engaging, they're not learning, and that's your philosophy, as I come to understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. All the sessions are, of course, aimed at getting the kids to engage in a fun manner, and also the focus of every session is to consider the 4 corners of development, which falls under psychological, physical, social, and technical skills. So we're continuously looking at ways to improve that and develop that.
Yeah, I've come to see that through the observations of how the club works. I understand that the organisation doesn't actually have any measures in place for psychological monitoring. And some examples that they could apply to the club is some wellbeing questionnaires. Now I understand that the children at the club are only under 9 years old, but it's still a very important matter to be concentrating on at that age, as they don't really have a lot of stress at that age. They don't really have a lot of responsibilities, but they still have stuff going on, and it's important that you keep an eye on that and make sure that when they come to the session, their mental health's still okay, and they're not struggling with anything at home, and they feel like they can talk to you about anything. Which, from observations, I believe that you've got that relationship with all the children that attend the club. So that's one recommendation for monitoring the children's well-being. I'd also recommend that the club introduces a factor of PCDE. I don't know if you heard of that. That's that helps with development of the player also, and it means psychological characteristics of developing excellence, and that should be a main focus of the club, because as identified by McNamara 2010, it helps the transition from grassroots football, which you're currently working at, to an elite level, as it improves their ability to train in environments with distractions. So using PCDs will help to improve that. Do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, well, I think that's a good method to apply. Something that I've learned of in terms of having like a questionnaire or something like that in place. At foundation phase, we could kind of get a chart where we kind of monitoring their feelings.
Yeah, the questionnaire is very simplistic, so it'd just literally be how you feel on a scale of 1 to 5, so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it needs to be ensured that it's of course adapted to age appropriate. Yeah. So I think something like pictorial would be a good approach on this.
Yeah, I think the club's got the resources to make that happen, and I feel that if that's in place, the parents will be a bit more well rested in the minds with the children at the club. So if we're gonna go on to talking about the models of talent development now, so just give you a bit of a background on what models of talent development are. Within the models of talent development, as I'm sure you're aware, there's 4 key stages. Detection, selection, and identification and development are the key stages of talent identification, and that's backed up by an article by Russell, 1989. And the model refers to the process of recognising the potential of an athlete to become an elite player. So from observation of your club, I see that you use a long-term athlete development with early specialisation, which focuses on training, winning and competing aspects of football. Now for the age group that you work with, I don't think that's the right method to use. I think you should be using late specialisation. As within late specialisation, it gives the children the chance to play other sports, learn the fundamentals of football within the club, and just it's a lot more enjoyment. Whereas with early specialisation, it's more head on, focusing on one sport, high intensity training. And you could also try using periodization as a model talent development, which would be very appropriate for your club, as it helps to develop the four corners. As you can set targets, so for one period of the season, you can focus on the tactical element. One part of the season you can work on technical, physical, and so forth. And that's backed up by an article by the FA in 2016. I feel that this should be done in the sessions as opposed to early specialisation, because you can, like I said before, you can focus on certain targets and you can implement, as I'm sure you're aware of, TGFU, which helps. Do you know what TGFU is? Do you have an understanding of TGFU? Teaching games for understanding.
Alright.
Teaching games for understanding is basically enabling the participant to learn through the means of game-based situations. So you constantly, instead of just doing set training drills, you're effectively playing games with them. In that way, they're having more fun and more enjoyment, so they pick things up faster. And that's backed up by an article by UK Coach in 2015. So that's a perfect way to ensure that they're still having fun and they're developing as athletes. Do you have any questions on that?
No. I think you made an important statement there around getting kids to play other sports. I think it's key and essential, but it can be a challenge at times because we live in a culture which is dominated by football, particularly. So getting a kid to play a different sport is an added benefit.
Yeah,
I definitely think as don't know what's the right approach, but or what the right methodology, but yeah, I as a coach, because I'm a multi-sport, I agree in encouraging multi-sports instead of just specializing in one particular sport. I mean, an example of that would be my own son. So he plays cricket, futsal, and football. So there's three elements of sports there which could contribute to all the four corners of his development.
Yeah, so from observation, it's very clear that you have a really good relationship with both the parents of the club and the children. So just relating back to that previous point, I feel that you'd be able to reiterate playing different sports very well, and that they'd listen to you because they have that respect and you have that relationship with the children. I feel that it's very positive that within Euxton Villa, the majority of the coaches are parents. I feel that having fathers in the mix promotes positive social interactions between the children and with other parents, because they can get involved and they not feel like they just turn up for the sake of it, but they can actually have an input on how the sessions run and help see their children develop in that way also, and that helps to increase the rapport and relationship between yourself and the parents. And that's backed up by an article by Weiss et al. 2005. Now, I also understand that, relating back to the social aspects of the club, twice a year the club hosts summer barbecues and camping trips. It's kind of a fundraiser for the club, but it's also, obviously, it helps to build the group cohesion between the parents and the coaches and the children in general. I feel that that's very good way to improve social cohesion between yourself and the other members of the club.
So yeah, So so all these observations that, of course, you've made, which is good. So am I correct in saying, although you're interviewing me, there's a lot of reviewing of current methods in place?
Yeah, that's the purpose of this. That's the purpose of this discussion. I'm giving you a feedback as to what I've observed and offering solutions and different approaches you could take in order to aid the town development further. I should have made that clear at the start. I should have made that very clear.
That was quite interesting. It's quite interesting because a lot of it's really good observations. So well done.
Yeah, so just carrying back on. Thanks, Eva. Carrying back on with it. So the social factors that you put in place are really good. But it's still very important to make sure that the line's clear between you and the participants. So you are the coach, you're the friend, but you still have a professional duty of care with them. You have to have that professional relationship still. I know this sounds a bit much at the early age groups, but it's still very important that line's there. So just sorry, the computer's just messing up. So yeah, relating back to, I'm going to relate back to the models of talent development a little bit again here. So, like I seconded before, using TGFU, teaching against understanding, that has a great impact on the children's development. Because even you want them to learn a new skill, but you can, for example, you could play a different sport that works on that skill. If you get me, if you understand that.
Yeah, and eye coordination, movement, ABCs.
All that, you're working on the fundamentals, which is obviously the whole purpose of it, the whole purpose of the sessions. So in terms of the social, there's obviously with the children at the club, they're not all one ethnicity. There's obviously a vast range of different races, religions, all at the club, which I feel is a really good factor of the club. It's not just specific to one race or one skin color, and that's perfect. That's the perfect philosophy for the club to have. It's also identified by Canax et al. That having good socio-economic backgrounds within the club helps the children later on in life to mix with groups of people that maybe they wouldn't do without their experience and the help from the club that they received at a young age. So just to finish off, I'm going to be discussing with you just a little bit more on the social aspects of the club. So, about the role model, the part that you play as a role model within the club, because obviously you have a great rapport with the children. I just want to discuss how much of an influence role models have on the children. So, you as a role model, the way you act, the way you present yourself, I feel that's really good, and I feel that's something the club should continue to second. They should continue to ensure that their coaches present themselves in that manner. And again, I think I mentioned this before, but talking back at the education of the coaches, I understand that not every coach who works at the club at the moment has minimum level 1 football coaching at the moment. I feel that should be top priority within the club's organisation demographics.
That is a policy that the club's now introduced. That's more recently come up, that to coach you have to have level 1.
Because I identified that
the club's now chartered standard. So if you want to become, one of the requirements for chartered standard is that every coach involved in the club is level 1 qualified.
Yeah, and that's good, because prior to that, when I was making my observations, I could see that one of the coaches, I won't name them, but one of the coaches didn't have the level 1 coaching badge, so it just seemed like he was coaching for the sake of coaching, or just kind of going off what you were saying and not having his own spin on it, not having his own approach. But I'm glad to hear that's been rectified.
Interesting.
So if there's any, Any other questions? Or...
No, I think on reflection, and I think that's a really good summary of where the club is. And, there's different things that you could implement there following that discussion to develop and also apply. It's good to apply a holistic approach to all four corners of development for individuals and as a club. So no, really good. Impressed.
Okay, thanks for that, Rendon. I'm just going to sign off. Thank you.